Well, I'm very excited for the guys to come out and execute some of the things we asked them to do. I knew after watching the film, going back to last spring, that this was a game that when you turn on the film, there's a difference in level of talent. And overall, I wanted to make our guys understand from Sunday to where we are today, it was about Arkansas's preparation. It was one of our main goals was to prepare with the intensity that we needed during the course of the week in all three phases and then come out and play that way. I was excited the way they came out and opened up the game offensively, defensively, and a huge pat on the back to the guys. I think they stayed involved in the game. Sometimes these games get a little out of hand, and there's definitely things that we got to correct. But there were some guys that we weren't sure how much they're going to play on both sides of the ball, offense, defense, guys that we were going to limit based on how the game flowed, and I think that was able to help us today too to get preparation for Texas Tech starting tomorrow. So. From an injury standpoint, I think we nobody significant during the course of the game, and that was a positive thing. But there are a lot of guys that were banged up from last week's game that we were going to be short with them, and that was able to work out there today. Corliss obviously wasn't out there, but be with us full go next week. Got no issues, concerns there, and I think the fact that to get Cody Walker, there were so many positives today, but Cody Walker works his tail off. He was a guy that I just can't say enough positive things. Him and Denzel Evans, they're recruited here as big-time running backs, and then to have Corliss and Jay Will and Alex kind of steal the limelight, that's just the way it is, and those two just keep working on it every day, so it was fun to see them get rewarded. And on defense, some of those newcomers to come in the game, I thought Josh Lydell, to get DJ Dean to get an interception, to have him affect the punt return game and do certain things there was very, very positive. So we'll just take this one. We'll enjoy the day, give a lot of credit to Nicholls State. Obviously, they came in and battled all the way through. So we'll take this one and move forward, and excited about the opportunity next week. The locker room, even just a steady crescendo. It was all business beforehand. There wasn't anything, clowning around. They think they knew they needed to come out, and there's a good mind frame. We've changed some things up since we were a year ago, and I think that we did everything the exact same we did in Auburn. But I thought the post game to be able, I got to work on that song too. I don't know it. It was fun to go over there and dance with our guys and pay tribute to our students. Our students have been awesome since I've been here. But to get in there in the locker room and have that celebration was awesome. A lot of smiles. Yeah, I'm so excited for Keon. I love that kid. I called him a teacher's pet last year, and he got mad. I don't mean to give him kudos or. He just does everything we ask him to do. He works, he prepares, he's in it, he's conscientious. There'll be so many times during the summer I'll pop in on a Sunday or during the spring, and he's here running routes on his own or working on footwork. To see him duly get rewarded today, obviously a nice reverse, but in the catching game, and then also back there's a kickoff return. I know he was excited to get that opportunity as well. So to give a kid like that chance was huge. The first one? There are several good plays, on the perimeters too. I think there's a lot of really good things. I think obviously the initial hole is designed, and but a lot of times those big runs are because of great blocks downfield. And I thought our wide receivers, even our freshmen, to get Kendrick Edwards in there and blocking at the end of the game was really big. We wanted to play JoJo today, but he got stepped on in practice. He's not overly big to begin with, so he got stepped on. He's not quite healed up from that. But I think we're at the total of 11 true freshmen that have played. And possibility of one more. Have 12? 12 played? I like it. I'm duly noted. You mean Keon's? Well, it's a play that we kind of have some strong tendencies to, and to reverse the field. Again, I think our offensive coaches and players are just so much more in tune with opening up and seeing our entire offense and knowing what to do. I thought it was really impressive to me, as we expected to have success on that play. But we ran it again later in the game with different personnel, and they still had success. I thought it was fun to get Doo-Wop in there and let him get some perimeter runs. He's a very gifted athlete, a guy that we hopefully can now continue to work into our program. Well, I thought there was 2 or 3 plays where young players did the old double shove or push. Tevin Beatham could have had a sack. I won't tell you what Dwayne Eugene said when he missed his sack. He was nervous, I think. He knew he was going to get his first sack. But all you got to do is do what we teach you. We talk about biting the ball. We talk about wrapping and rolling. We talk about sweeping the ankle on defense. Those things are great examples of that today. When they happened, the play was down. When it didn't happen, they had success. So some really good teaching moments from that film. Yeah, and still a work in progress because defensively they came out and moved the ball on us a little bit. Obviously put it in the end zone. So we really need to just continue to emphasize, and that's on me. I got to gather them and bring them out. And there were so many moving parts today. We got the new entrance video, which I was kind of excited about. I think our kids were really into that, and we walked through that on Thursday. I thought they brought great energy, and we want our home stadium to be an advantage. I mean, been around other places in the past. You see places in our conference where there's a tremendous amount of pride from not only the way the players play, but the fans show up. And the next time we come back here, we're going to have a team that isn't in the SEC, but has been in 2 straight BCS games, and we want this place to be live. And a lot of that's going to be the attitude that we set next week on the road, because we have great fans here, and they show up and be loud. It's a pretty tough place to play. Chris Jones, or oh yeah. 79-89 playing a numbers game with you guys. I think Cameron Jefferson and Sebastian Tretola, in my opinion, both those kids came here because of our traditional linemen, and they've added immediate depth and given us a great amount of flexibility offensively. And when I was at my previous institution, some of those better O-linemen that we couldn't work in the starting rotation, I had a kid, Billy Nagy, that never started for us. He was our 6th offensive lineman, was drafted in, I believe, the 7th round by the Cowboys and started as a rookie. Cameron Jefferson is I think he can start for us, but we put him in at that big tight end, put him at fullback. He is so gifted. He's so athletic. He does everything right. Sebastian's dropped about 25 pounds, and he's going to continue to give us depth. I really was excited about those two, in addition to Frank Ragnow coming in and doing it. We're going to try to hold Brian Wallace right now, just not disappointed at all. I think his mom had a great – we're preserving his red shirt, preserving his ability to play, because we think he can be something special here in a short fashion. So to get that O-line depth, and to me that's – across the board, when I get the question, Coach, what do we need to do to step forward? Without a doubt, it's our O-line and D-line depth in our program that has to continue to grow.
Brett, obviously fans and coaches and players are very different the way they see things. So some fans might complain about an FCS opponent, but from a coach's and a player's perspective, what do you get out of that?
Well, first thing is that you get execution with success. So you get the kids to understand, hey, when you do this and you block it a certain way, you line up defensively a certain way, you have success. And then sometimes when you have had repeated failures, and by that I mean we lost 10 straight. I'm not ignoring that. I'm going to wrap my arms around it and kiss it and make it as best I can. But it's nothing I enjoyed. It's nothing I like. It's nothing I want to repeat again in my life. But it's something that we had to do. It's something that we earned, and to feel the success of it, to taste that success, especially with young players, I think is critical. And then that just builds confidence for you in the future. What's that? Well, Corliss we knew wasn't going to play. We pretty much had that under wraps. Dietrich tried to go on Tuesday, if I'm mistaken, and we kind of just said, hey, let's not be, don't look at Davion McKinney. All right, Davion hasn't played for us, but he was in a situation he could have played today, but we said let's hold him from playing. So that was really kind of all around us, and again, I think it's you would be amazed. Roster management probably is one of the biggest issues I deal with as a head coach, offensively, defensively, X's and O's, but roster management, who we're going to play, who are we going to hold. Yes, they can play this week, but we'll be better off holding them to play against Texas Tech and be fresh. And sometimes kids don't want to hear that, but the one thing I always share with our players, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I'm going to tell you exactly what I feel, and it's in your best interest when we do these things, and I think they understand it.
What do you think of Collins and Williams? He had 5 one-play touchdowns, including run by touchdowns.
That's an awesome stat. Didn't know it. Thanks for sharing that. I think Collins, Jay Will, and then, of course, when we get Corliss in there, they are 3 very explosive players. I think they feed well off one another. It's fun to see. Even like Alex got down there in the 8, but he had 3 big runs. He knew he was coming out, because I always tell those guys, don't be the guy that's in there that has a scoring play and you can't get there because you're gassed. Tap yourself out, let that next guy in, and There was examples of that all over the field today, but it also showed that they could finish that thing off.
Talk about next week, Texas Tech going out there, and the weather could play a factor like it did last week. I think you got a break today.
Yeah. Well, I've never been to Lubbock. It's something I've been intrigued with ever since, they're coming onto our schedule, and talked to a lot of people that have played there. I think their fans have a lot of pride, and they make it difficult for you to play there. And I think this is the bonus of us playing at Auburn, to be quite honest. If that game had been at home, or we hadn't had that game in our hip pocket right now, we wouldn't be as prepared as we're going to be this week to do that. So the blessing in disguise was we've been on the road already, had some success, but we had failures, and kids learned a lot about themselves. Yeah, I'm not big into choreography. I'm not doing that. I actually cleared it with the officials. One of the things that we did during fall camp was we put a huge emphasis on ball disruption. So during practice, is actually one of our coaches, I can't remember if it was Joel Thomas or one of the coaches, talked about it, and I gave all my coaches an opportunity to speak to the team. And it's escaping me which coach brought it up, but said, well, if we get one of those turnovers, run that ball up to Coach B and give it to him, because we always talk it's all about the ball. So I was nervous last week and this week that we'd get an interception or a fumble recovery, and the refs are asking for the ball, and our guys take it off the field and run it over to me. We kind of like have a little trophy case, so that's something to hopefully, if I'm getting balls handed me on the sideline, that's a really good thing. Yeah, it was nice to get an athletic quarterback in there for a change-up. We were really beating BA up on the sidelines. I think Austin did a nice job of making some decisions at the line of scrimmage. It's your first time he's played. He hadn't played for 2 years, Last time he played, he had a bulldog on his helmet, So to be in his home style, he's got a lot of people in the stands that know who he is, and to go out and play as well as he did, made some good decisions. First ball was a completion, but that interception, he's got to get the ball over that guy's head, So I really thought he did some good things. It was good to see him get that game experience. That's critical to get your number 2 quarterback that many plays, because really going into today, our plan for our number 2 quarterback was dramatically different than it was last week, because you just got nervous when it was going to be an opportunity on the road if he got thrust into something a little bit more less friendly than what he had today.
How about the young guys that you got to play today? How much do you think those guys will impact your season?
You'd like the true freshman you're talking about? Without a doubt, to get Frank Ragnow at center is huge. Frank's a very special player. Mitch is playing really good football. To get some depth at tackle for both Dan and Bray Cook, to have Cameron know that we could do that, I think that's big. Just to go by position, the wide receiver position, Jared Cornelius is so mature. You guys have interviewed him. He's such a mature kid. You lose sight that he's a true freshman. He started school here last January. So to have him have the ups and downs of the day, I know he caught a couple nice balls, but he also dropped to a touchdown run, and had some struggles in the return game. So that was really good. To have some struggles is actually a good thing. I know we don't want to see it that way, but that's positive. To get Kendrick Edwards in there and have him, he must be double jointed, that little play down in the end zone. I thought he tore his knee up, but he's a kid that we wanted to get in there, and it was good to see him do that. And then Denzel to play at running back. On defense, to get Cornelius Floyd has been very impressive. In fall camp, to get another kid, especially from Miami, to come in there and do some things. Andre Tolliver played really well. Josh Lydell, Dollarway Bill was awesome back there at the safety position and rolled in there. The freshman linebackers, I think all of them, Kalia put some pressure on. To get Grady Allison in there, who has switched now back to defense and got a sack at the end of the game, those are really big things. That's worth its weight in gold. Yeah. Well, at first, you have the option to challenge that. I knew the ball was a touchback, so I knew it was on a 25. I never saw the ball go over. I'm not complaining. I don't want to get fined here. I never saw the ball cross the 35, so I'm like, well, we're going to try this, I'm 0 for now as a head coach on challenges. I think they do it just to prove you wrong, personally. But it took so long. I thought it was going to get reversed. It took so long to come back, but obviously they made the correct call upstairs, and I was just doing it because I'm in it to win it. I don't want to give up anything, and I didn't want to have a first down be handed to them. It wasn't there, so that's why I challenged it, and they proved me wrong.
With so many big plays, does that show the explosiveness
I hope so. I think we got a lot of explosive players in the run game, throw game. Defensively, we had some things. I thought in the return game we had some nice stuff set up and executed. So we make a big deal on offense. We're trying to have X number of big plays to help us win. It's on our goal board. On defense, we want to give up one or less big plays against us. Last week we had 6, and it was part of the reasons we had failure. This week there are very few, and that's why we had success. So, yeah, I think big plays are a big part of offense, defense, and special teams.